All right, so what I'm doing today is pretty much changing the clutch slave cylinder here to this baby here. Makes the strain on the clutch lever quite softer, quite more convenient by about 30%. That is helping me a lot with my limitations on my left hand. The bike already helps me a lot here because the V4R has an auto blip up and down, a downshift auto blip, etc. So I quick shift, so it means I don't have to use the clutch for up and downshifts anymore. It takes some time to get used to it, and it still has some. There are still some adjustments in the electronic necessary because it's cutting. The cuts are too long, so that hopefully will be done with a good tune, which is coming very soon. But if I have to pull that clutch, I gotta pull all men into it, man. For now, this is so hard to pull, and so this here, this new slave cylinder here makes it way easier, and it looks awesome too, doesn't it? Yeah. And then in another part, I will add this here. This is a protector for the or call it guard for the lower cooler. This is the oil cooler. The thing is that I mean, it's very close to the ground here. It will get rock hits, and this can be costly and dangerous because if it hits it hard, it would lose all the oil, and then you would literally ride over it, you know. So yes, there is one, and I have one for the upper, for the radiator actually, but I won't add that. So it's like you can make a self experiment with this. Yeah, you have a home fan on the stand, and then you hold your hand against the fan, and you feel the wind stream hitting your hand, and then you hold this in front of you, between, and you feel the restriction. So this here, I didn't do the math here, but this here is at least, what, 20, if not 30%, restricting the airflow into the cooler, radiator. So if you already have problems with the heat management of your Panigale, this is a way to add a problem to it, you know. So I will leave this away and live with the risk of a rock hit. That's just the way it is. Yeah. I did this to my previous Panigale as well, and I never had a problem with this. Not saying that you never ever will have a problem with that, but I never had one. So I will live with the risk. So then I will very likely I already started to work on it, converting this this key, this whole other lock thing, which is quite heavy, to a push button kill switch up here. Very cool. It looks really, really good too, and then it's way lighter. It's quite tricky though, but I will get into it once we're working on it. Then I might go into the front headlight, replacing this with a light dummy, just the way I did this in the rear, right here. So this is no active light anymore. This is a dummy, way lighter, and it looks good. It's nice. It has a nice finish to it, and that's it. So I did some work here. We got these back on here. Just yesterday we added this. That looks great. I also mounted these protectors. Well, I actually don't like calling them protectors because it's actually not. What is it protecting, right? It looks damn good though, doesn't it? And then we added those titanium bolts there, getting rid of big heavy bolts. Yeah, I'm not doing all of that. I described it in the first video. Why not? Because if you go all the way with the weight reduction, then that gets really pricey. So, and then eventually I'm going into the rear sets here, taking them off and see what we can do, and also prepping the bike for getting rid of this ugly exhaust. So let's get to it. All right, so this is fairly easy to do. But in order to get this guard, this lower guard in, you just have to remove all radiator bracket bolts. There's one, two, and then there is another one here, and another one in here, hard to see. And then same on the other side, and then you pray out this plastic nose, which then goes into here. That moves then that shroud forward, and now I have space enough to slide this in. Let's see if I can do this with one hand. So at a dealership, I tried to do this without hurting those. There you go. It sits right there, right in front. And yeah, as you can see, as you can tell, it already restricts airflow. That fucks with me a little bit, but hey, this is the protection down here and the necessity. And this is actually like what, including the upper one, which I do not install. I already explained why. About 50, 60 bucks. I found it on eBay, so that'll do the job. Oh, and it actually, that doesn't look bad here, huh? So this doesn't go anywhere once the shroud is back in place, and it doesn't need any bolts or running zip ties through the fins, so which you can hurt them with. However, at a dealership, you would literally pay a lot of money. I would call this like 500 bucks, just removing the fairings and all that just to get to it. So this is stuff you should learn to do on your own. There it is. All right, all bolts are back in place. Shroud is mounted. Guard is in. There you go. Yeah. It just took me maybe 10 minutes max. So since I'm sitting here and right in this place, it's a good time, since I'm already halfway into it, getting rid of the chloroquine canister evap. I have a bypass, which probably goes into here, so I can get rid of this. Hopefully the entire case here, the carrier, which gives the bike more airflow as well, and then also getting rid of this, what's that, the perch valve or whatever. Hopefully the switch will go into here, the bypass will go into here, and so that the ECU doesn't throw me a light there and gives me some issues. So hoping to get rid of a lot of stuff with this. I seriously hope I can get rid of this carrier, that this doesn't hold anything else, because I noticed that when I prepared the exhaust for removal, because the servo can go too, so I unmounted that. There is a bypass switch as well to trick the ECU, and now this carrier here bothers me a lot. But it seems that all this ABS unit here, all this is also mounted to that bracket carrier whatsoever. I'll see what I'll do with it, because that also would clear up room down here and allows air to flow. You know. Yeah, let's see what we're doing with this later. But now I'm taking care of that evap canister. Goddamn thing, man. Okay, folks, so this is the evap canister. Just took it out from here. I know what some of you might think, and I feel yeah. This is good for something. It catches the fumes or the overflow from the tank, and it goes in here. But it also is a bottleneck for a lot of issues. Yeah, when this overfills, the bike starts running bad, and it can be really a pain. And for a track bike, so you can get rid of issues here, but working on issues not existing yet, and you can get rid of a lot of weight. This here is, I would say, I don't know, maybe 1 pound. So, and then there is more to remove. I'm seriously hoping, again, getting rid of this box here. There, it should hang here on one single bolt. When I wiggle on it, it seemed to be one bolt for this. And this is hanging on it. That's the purge valve right there. And I'm hoping that the bypass, which I have here, goes into here, so I can get rid of the weight for this purge valve same time, and then block off this hose right there, this hose. So the trick now is to block off this hose and putting together this one somewhere here with this one. That should be fair enough. So it has that. If there's gas coming out, it's leaving down there. This here should be a, I don't know, I seriously don't know how to call it, a back off valve or something. So, because in the past, I believe people had problems that they constantly had gas flowing out there right in front of their rear wheel. This should prevent it, because that is the connection to the gas tank right there. So that should do that. That should take care of that. So here's another thing with this. So this here, right now, what I'm doing with this connection and blocking this one off is a temporary thing to do, because there's actually way more way to find. All those hoses, they're going now from the purge valve up to the cylinders on each one. To reach these, I might can reach the first two here, but that's pretty much it. I won't be able to get to those in the back. So my guess is it needs to be done once the air box is removed for whatever reason. Actually, a good reason would be to put those block off plates on where there is even more weight to find, you know, and that makes tuning a little easier too. So this will be done in a second workshop. I think I'm gonna ask a guy I know who's done that many times and can help me with that, removing that airbox, because removing that airbox is a pain. So for now, temporary, but I'm happy with it so far. There it is, folks. So everything is secured. Here is the what was going into the purge valve. That is nicely done with a zip tie there. It can go anywhere. I used a M10 aluminum bolt to block it off, and then again later on, once for whatever reason the airbox comes out, the rest of this hose system, spider web, whatnot, can go as well. I think there's another quarter, if not a half a pound in there, especially when I'm also working on the block off plates. So now the lights go down. Here's that new Y section here, goes into here, combining these. This is just a run off. This valve here hopefully will prevent to have gas just running out of the tank. This is that left hose there. And this one ends up here anyway. That's a breather, or is that the breather? No, it's not. I'm not sure. And then all wires are secured here. Here's the bypass for the purge valve, and the cables, which have been zip tied to this ugly box here are now secured here and here, and this is blocked off as well. So what I actually would like doing is I did this to a car as well, to isolate lines like this. This is an oil line, and give it some heat protection. That would be very easy to do at an auto store. You actually can get like little heat shield jackets kind of thing. You just wrap them around and you keep them for some degree cooler. Excuse me. Cool, huh? So, and all this, I would call it 1.5, if not 2 pounds of weight, all down here. Freaking cool. Okay, now so I'm going into the clutch slave. Is this actually the master, or is it doesn't matter, right? So I loosened up these bolts already. In my scrape box, I found this piece here. It's all aluminum. I had this left over from my build of the KTM Supermoto SMR Supermoto. So this is super light. That goes and it fits in here. This kit comes with all the hardware, new seals, and all that. So, but I need to find more appropriate bolts, because I removed the cover here that stays away. So, and the cover actually is also held by these 2 bolts. So I don't need these 2 long bolts anymore. So I need to find the right bolts here. So I'll show you later how that looks like. And there you have it. Nice, huh? Yeah. So I found the right bolts here, but I decided to use titanium bolts instead of aluminum bolts, because there is quite some pressure on that line this way. So I won't play with my luck here and use titanium. I mean, for years I've been using aluminum bolts on a slave like this on the Supermoto. I don't know. I give this a little bit. I like to give this a little bit more strength. Doesn't it look awesome? So this bolt went back in there, just loosen up the line to give me a little bit more wiggle room. And that's pretty much it. Now, I also found in my scrape box another aluminum banjo bolt like that. Installed that since I have to bleed the air anyway. So this way. So if you work with lines like that, and this is DOT4 brake fluid in there, have safety glasses on, and wipe everything off after all, because that stuff fucks up paint in no time, and especially your eyes. So when you work with lines coming loose and they're flipping through the air, wiggling through the air, and it sprays easily a drop of brake fluid in your eye, and then you are fucked. Seriously. So have safety glasses on. Make sure you wipe everything off after all. So let's move on to the next one. Yep. Doing some cosmetics now. This is a carbon piece. As you meanwhile know, I hate looking at plastic, flimsy plastic stuff. And so that way I can remove the steel bolts. Putting some aluminum in and clean this up a little. Let's see where it goes. So this is removed. It's a little bigger than that, but I'm not worried about it. Actually, it is a little lighter, but that's so insignificant. I have to drill open these holes a little because they don't allow 6mm bolts right now, and at the same time I can run a little hole into the oil filler plug, because then later on I can safety wire it as you should. So that's what I'm doing next. Okay, this is how it looks like when it's all cleaned up. I think that went well. Even though this part is a little shorter than the original, goes till here to cover that, but I think I got it. It's right there where the kink in the lines are is the exit, so that went all well. I have two holes in here for allowing me to run a safety wire. I guess I'm going either here or here. Let's see. Of course, I dropped the bolt into the clutch case. I had to redo this, take them out. Other than that, this side is almost done. What bothers me a lot, I gotta say, is this here, this carrier. That is, I mean, this here will be going out anyway, and half of the case is unnecessary, which I like to get rid of. I gotta see how this is all mounted. This is the ABS unit, because it's also mounted to this carrier here. Maybe I find a way to do this, because that would free up this area too, just like on the other side, and allows the air to flow. Okay, so now I'm going into the headlight area. I will take the headlight out, replacing this with a headlight dummy, and then this part will be turned to carbon, just like this here, this side, and a little carbon cover for the dashboard here. I won't call it protection. They do. I don't. It's more cosmetics than anything else. But let's see what we can do with this. So I got the headlights out. Was a little bit of pain on the butt, but in the end, it was just two plugs hanging there. It hangs on literally two M6 bolts and a few plastic thingies here. I gotta remove this as well. Yeah, so I could do some stuff here now. That's pretty cool. And now this is the headlight unit, and this is the dummy. This is very cool, and actually is very inexpensive. So this here is about, well, I would say 3 times the weight less. So that's a lot. Nothing is in there. But now I gotta move all these plastics here, because there is the intake temperature sensor, and this and all that have to go over to this one. Shouldn't be a big deal. I've seen 4 little hex bolts holding this all in place, and then I see all those rubbers here. All of that has to be transferred. Shouldn't be a big deal, and easily to do. Let's see. Ka-ching. All right. So this is now all removed. Here's the plastic. This is the air intake there. Here's the sensor. What the hell this is, I have no idea. I've seen it on a Coyote air intake where they have an extra reservoir here. It's got to have some sense. So I gotta look this up. Now here are the rubber grommets and whatnot, those little bolts holding this in place. What I really like, and I think it's actually remarkable that Ducati tries with the design to save on bolts, which is adding up weight and cost, of course, for them, right? Every bolt counts in their production. But what this is here now is the actual weight of the original headlight, which is I feel like maybe like a quarter full bucket of water, kind of thing like that. And this is an empty bucket. That's really how that feels like. So while I'm working here on the front part, on the upper like headlight whatnot, I want to reduce the steering angle just a little bit. That prevents the handlebars from coming into the tank fairings very close and maybe even squeezing your hand. So this makes this steering ankle shorter, and you won't have that problem. That makes it also a little hotter if you in the paddock making a tight turn around out of your tent into your tent, etc. So that makes that a little hotter, but hey, you get used to it. The downside of these things, these here, this is the lower triple clamp. These here like to break when you go down, so that hits then that restrictor here, this part, and then they like to break off. I'm looking right now, I'm researching right now some steering stoppers. It was very easy on the 1199R, which was kind of mounted here. Where's my finger? Right here. So when the 4 comes in, it hits a rubber grommet, and that was very easy to install. But this is totally different now. I've seen some stuff for here, mounting it here, but it actually doesn't touch it as far as I could find out. So I don't know how helpful this is then, right? And some racing teams that actually install like foam and hold it here in place with cable ties. Yeah, I mean that would be a solution, and I'll do that if I don't find anything else, as long as there's something which hits into here and prevents the triple clamp to break, or at least these little things down there. I had that once on the 1199R, so ask me how I know. That happens really quick. So I'm going to reduce this here. This is easy to do. I opened up this nut here, and then with a screwdriver or probably Allen, you just screw them a little further in. I think I'm going with 2 or 3 mil on each side, and that should be reduce it fair enough. So what else am I seeing here? What can I do? These little nuts here are too small to swap them into aluminum. That I don't want to have these dropping out and causes, or puts me into the place where I have to remove the fairing, etc. I'll leave them as is. I can just check them if they're tight enough, because I already found some bolts which are not. Yeah, that's how it looks like. By the way, I leave the horn in. That's actually some good weight to save, but I'll leave it in, because when I'm teaching people on the track and there is some hot shot running tight on us on hairpins, etc., I give it a good hunk, and make them wake up. And so it ain't that bad, so I'll leave it in. It also would leave a big hole here if I take this out, which you can see from up here throughout the fairing. That doesn't look good, so I'll just leave it in. Yeah, other than that, there's not much I can do here. And then I'm pretty much ready to install the carbon stuff up here, and I'll probably do the carbon protector first, so because I have some more wiggle room now. All right. Well, it seems that the protector delivers. I think it looks good. It looks awesome. It's cosmetics, and I like it. There you go. I still don't trust that double-sided tape, even though it looks very strong, but I can see it flying right into my face there. That's probably what's going to happen on the next straight. Looks good.